Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Europe Crossroads series. We have 7 amazing matches for you that were recorded at the Europe Crossroads on Saturday. That was the 27th of September, not that long ago. And then we had the finals on the Sunday, the 28th. So I'm here together with Mitch, also Frogimago. How are you, Mitch?
I'm doing good. I'm looking forward to talking some constructed. If anyone knows me, they know I'm a limited player, but I've played some constructed, so let's get into it.
Yeah, I love this. So we're very honored. Thank you, Ex Curiosa. Thank you, White Rabbit, that we are able to cast this. And we don't do this alone. We have our co-casters, Geoffrey and Felix, who are very experienced players, and you will see them also casting the other parts. So let's get into it. Our first round, very exciting, is an Archimago versus Enchantress match, and that was played between Felix on Archimago and Ewart as the Enchantress. Um, we can have a look at the deck lists. Mitch, you have some experience with Archimago and Enchantress.
Not so much with Enchantress, but Archimago, I have played. I played in like the first online series that I did. I did a bunch of Archimago, and not the most fun deck to play, but it's a very powerful deck. So it's a popular choice for big events like this. Um, so one of the interesting things about Felix's list is that he's playing two chains. I think he might be like one of the first players to be playing Chains of Prometheus. Um, so that's a pretty sweet card. Definitely slows down the opponent. Definitely tuned for more of like an aggressive, um, trying to beat the aggressive decks, trying to beat Steam Druid, that kind of thing. I like to see the Fire Splash. It's been more popular. He goes all the way to double fire threshold, and actually he's playing Fields of Camlin in his Atlas, so actually you can get up to 3 fire threshold. And I like that a lot. Like Fields of Camlin has been a card that I've really wanted to have in the Archimago deck list, but I just never see it. So it's really interesting to see that card in the deck because it's just so powerful. Like 0 mana board wipe, like can't get better than that.
What is the overall goal of Archimago? What is the battle plan?
Yeah. So of course this is the boogeyman of the format. Like it's the most controlling of all the decks. So it plays very few minions. It plays all of the removal spells and all the cantrips, and it's just trying to get into the super late game and kill your opponent with Crater Eyes. So you can cast Crater Eyes and then cast it again from your cemetery to put them at Death's Door, and then you've just got like a million ways to deal the death blow.
I also see that guards is in this list.
Yeah, so guards and border militia are like the token package. So these, there's only one of each, but of course you can flash them back, so you can get a bunch of tokens. So I guess against a control deck, you can maybe put enough tokens on the board that are annoying, and they can't really deal with all of them without a Poison Nova. But it's mostly been put into Archimago decks recently because of the Grim Guisarm and the Mask of Mayhem changes, which means that you can hit sites for double damage. So the ability for Steam Druid and some of these other aggro decks to deal 20 damage in one turn is the biggest threat to Archimago. So that is one way to mitigate against that strategy is to have a bunch of tokens on board that you can chump block with.
Okay. Then we jump to his opponent, Ewart, aka Nerbil. He is playing the Enchantress.
Yep. So I have very little experience. I've never played Enchantress, but I've played against it a few times. It's one of those decks that like isn't in S tier. It's probably not even an A tier deck, but it's like a B tier. But people that really love it, they're going to play it a lot and they're going to get really good with it. And it's going to look like an S tier deck when it's in the right hands. So I think normally we see fire, air, and water as the primary elements for Enchantress decks because then you've access to abundance, you've got access to Atlantean Fate and Silence. Those are popular options, but this one is a little bit different. So we've got Earth in this one. So I'm guessing that they're trying out Entangled Terrain is the reason that they got pulled into Earth. So this is an aura that when you animate it, it can still attack because of the change to immobile, but it can no longer move like most of the other auras are going to be able to do.
So I
So that'll
was
be
So I was mystified by the rest in peace. Well, not mystified. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
abundance, a 5 powered minion.
Hmm.
Why is it is in the deck?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's good against Dapper Vampire, which is very popular. I'm not really sure what other stuff that it kills,
It's
but
the Infernal Legion is also a card
yeah, Infernal
that
Legion,
is
yeah.
now in Big Fury. So
Yeah.
those are two key cards that probably are one of the most played minions in the whole Crossroads in the room together.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt, like, Rest in Peace is not in the meta at all. Like, it's really just here because it's a 5 mana, 5 power minion, you know, in this deck. So, um, I think that's why it's there. But honestly, like, sometimes it might be able to kill something interesting. So, we'll see if that ever comes up.
Okay.
And then other things you get with Earth, you get Common Sense. So you can actually Common Sense for entangled terrain in this deck, which is pretty cool. So I think most Enchantress decks have like 13 or more auras, is what I've been seeing. This one only has 10, but it also has 4 Common Sense. So you can kind of count that as like 14 auras that you can draw, because Enchantress doesn't usually have like Archimago has like 30 plus magics in its deck, but Enchantress doesn't really have that many auras that it can actually play. So that's one way to I guess
Okay.
be able to get your auras.
Okay, let's jump into the match, but perhaps before, any idea on this? Where does the balance lie? Which one is favorite in this matchup, you think?
Um, I don't know. I mean, probably Archimago. I mean, it's just a very powerful deck. I think Enchantress is like a mid-range control deck, which usually mid-range decks don't do very well against control decks. Um, but this deck does blank a lot of the Archimago's removal spells, so we'll see. It's kind of going to be dependent on the draws, I'm guessing.
Okay. So let's just jump into it. So we have Ewald on the bottom, and we have Felix with Archimago on the top. Here we go. So in the Crossroads, we also had the second Seer Mulligan rule. This is something that was tested online, I think. And it's not official yet, but I saw it them bring it to the Europe Crossroads. I think it was in America as well. And so for the
The
people,
planets, yeah.
so basically that means after you have both mulligans, the second player gets one extra seer ability, so he can choose his spellbook or his atlas, and then choose to bottom it or put it back on top, which is actually a nice extra advantage.
Yeah, I really like that change. We've been using it in our drafts too.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, we did see a defensive site from Enchantress, which isn't really going to be relevant, so he's just going to play it right away. One of the things that you typically see against Enchantress is they try to build their site pattern in like an M shape, because the auras, once they're animated, they can't, any part of them can't be in the void, otherwise they get banished. So we'll see if that happens. I mean, Felix is a very very talented, very experienced player, so I'm sure he knows about that strategy. We'll see if he tends to use it.
Yeah. We see a blink cost just for the cantrip.
And Archimago has 1 disenchant, which is obviously a very important card in this matchup. But of course, he can flash it back. So some decks play 2 dispel / disenchant. But Archimago, one of the benefits of his abilities, you really only need to play 1 to have access to 2.
So the Kettletop Leprechaun getting in for some action. I always have an issue with this card. Like, do you want to kill it or not? Because basically they are there to draw a site, and so I want to keep them on the board as long as possible. Now there are 2, of course. You have to deal with them at some point, but the longer you can wait with it, the better. So I'm really curious how this Enchantress will function. So can we expect an entangled terrain, and there it is, locking one in, keeping the other one out?
Yeah, it's not too bad. It can just chip away and kill them. It can at least deal with the one that's on his own site, and maybe just leave the other one to sit around for a while.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I was going to mention about this Enchantress deck is that it has a lot of one-ofs, I noticed. So it has like one spin attack, it has one grapple shot, it has like one berry, one major explosion, stuff like that. So that is something that I have tended to do with my control decks is you just kind of want to have answers to a bunch of different things. Ooh, is that the Dispel already cast on the Entangled Terrain?
Yep.
That's pretty nice. Did he fetch that with a Common Sense, or did he
Yeah,
just
yeah,
drew
yeah.
that? Okay.
No, that was like a no-brainer. Just going for the dispel. I mean, if you play if you play Enchantress, like that is the card, right? You want to I think he only has the one, so he can do that then 2 times. It's also very clear that there is no pyre, there is no cemetery removal, etc. So it's completely safe to get it and already have it in your cemetery for later. Oh, and I stand
Ooh.
corrected.
Yeah.
And there we have the pyre.
Okay. That's a nice stabilizing turn.
Yeah, because honestly, when I've been playing against Archimago, I'm not always getting use or value out of the funeral pyres, because sometimes there is only one magic in the cemetery, and then they play 3 very fast, so I don't have the chance to remove anything useful. But removing that dispel is definitely a big gain.
So I think Ewat should be at 14.
Ah, you're right.
I think he got 2 more hits in with
Yeah.
some leprechauns. Wildfire is such a sweet card. Is it on our Gnome Hollows right now? So one thing I saw with Wildfire against some control decks, I have played it against like my Death Speaker deck, which I like to play. And one of the cool things that you can do with Wildfire is if you animate it, then at the end of the turn, when you're supposed to choose a site that it hasn't visited before, you can just choose a Gnome Hollows, and then the Wildfire will see it as a valid target to move, but if it is a minion at the time, it will not move. So then your Wildfire can actually just sit in the same spot turn after turn.
That is a cool interaction.
Yeah. There's also one spin attack and one critical strike in this Enchantress list. Spin attack is a card that actually got nerfed recently for Enchantress specifically, because now you only actually choose one of the 4 locations that an animated aura occupies, which is kind of unfortunate for the Enchantress players out there. But yeah, so we see a hit, and then he gets burned for 3. So putting in some good damage with that Wildfire. He's got a Pudge all lined up. And the only way to get away from it outside of a blink is to move into the Wildfire. So yeah, I think he should be at 13. Took 3 from Wildfire, 4 from getting attacked. Oh, and then he has an Angel's Egg, I see.
Yeah, indeed.
All right. I think the Enchantress player is pretty happy with how this is going. Like, he doesn't have access to Dispel anymore. He's getting damage in.
And who doesn't love a Pudge Butcher on the battlefield?
Oh, yeah. Can't really see what Felix has in the yard, but presumably that is probably 3 magics, or maybe 2 of them are leprechauns. Okay, he's actually moving up. It's interesting. Oh, okay, to kill everything. Nice.
Yeah. Poison Nova always does its thing.
Yeah, unfortunately, the auras aren't always safe because they're animated until your next turn, so your opponent does have the ability to untap and kill them as if they were minions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the thing is, like, Archimago is built to handle minions. And then thinking of Eowat and having only 10 and auras, and then he has the pudges, but still it's a bit on the low side for an Archimago, I would say. There we have change, which is also very annoying to deal with and play against when you have minions.
Yeah, it is. It is interesting. I mean, Enchantress has some minions, I guess, that can be tapped by it. But for the most part, I think Enchantress is one of the decks that are quite immune to chains. So maybe he just had nothing better to cast that turn.
Mm-hmm.
And the board is clear, which is always in Archimago's favor. So can't be too sad to see that. See another pudge. So yeah, unfortunately, Enchantress, sometimes it can just run out of auras. Like it drew 2 auras and they both got dealt with, and now the Enchantress might just not have anything to do with its ability for a while. Like I said, there's only 10 auras in the deck.
Yeah.
So yeah, that comes up. I don't know. Yeah, that's the thing that's made me kind of afraid to dig too deep into the Enchantress play style. It just sometimes can draw literally 0 auras and is just a blank avatar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Archimago, they just love time, right? As we see with one egg that you cannot get off the board, and they just go back up very slowly. And once you draw a new minion, they have a new removal spell, etc. So it's really a tough game to beat. So Common Sense was played. Did you see what he got?
No, unfortunately, we can't really see
Mm-hmm.
can't really see Felix's hand, but I'm sure he'll reveal his tricks before too long. Mirror Realm, copy, Valley of Delight.
I think Mirror Realm was one of the most played sites. Not to be, it's not a surprise, of course. The card is so amazing. Basically, good always. You just copy whatever you need. Perhaps only when you're a Pathfinder and it's the first site you draw. That's probably the one of the only few scenarios where it's really annoying. But then perhaps not meant for a Pathfinder deck.
Yeah, the other day I was playing a Geomancer Roots deck, and I popped Roots, and then I tapped my Geomancer to flip a site, and it was Mirror Realm.
Ouch.
It's very disappointing.
Another Common Sense.
Yeah, let's see. I guess probably getting Entangled Terrain. Yeah, looks like it.
So I really like the Common Sense into Entangled Terrain. That's smart.
Yeah, I don't know if the...
Okay.
We got an Earthquake. Ooh, is he going to be able to pudge him now? Nice.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, burying the egg, so that is going to stay on his side for quite a while.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The pudge was tapped, unfortunately, because of the chains, huh? Yeah, that sucks.
So Earthquake is an amazing card, of course. It changes the layout of the field. So in this case, moving the avatar nicely where you want it to be. the downside sometimes is, as in this case, like it burrows everything, so the egg is now underground, but that does not work. It's not functioning anymore, so it is now more difficult to reach or steal. And even if you would have a dispel, now you cannot target it anymore. So, and we see an Archimago doing Archimago's thing. He is back at 20 life. Everything that you did was for nothing, basically, and that can sometimes be difficult to play against, like to keep or stay optimistic about your chances, because you just feel that the game is slipping away out of the hands. I think that was a Chaos Twister.
No, was it?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think Felix is playing Chaos Twister.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely. You could try to land it right on the Enchantress, probably. Okay.
So for the people who have no idea what is happening, Chaos Twister is you have to pick the cards, and so he targeted the Push Pusher, and you see him shaking a little bit. It's his first time on stream, and voila. So they used the replacement card because, of course, it has to be without the sleeve. And then it fell on the Enchantress, and then basically it deals damage to its power. So that was 5 damage, putting Ewa to 9 lives. And it also deals damage to itself. So it is a removal spell and a damage spell. Chaos Twister is insanely strong. Another Pyre. And now we also can have a look. Ooh, that is a cemetery filled with spells. And I mean, you have to remove it for Chaos Twister.
Oh, man.
And he went for the common senses.
Yeah, I don't think there's any good options there. It's like he's gonna have access to removal.
Yeah.
Like, I guess I would definitely get rid of the common sense, because that just leads to more shenanigans.
Yeah, and the common sense has 2 functions, right? So on the one hand, he's going for direct damage now. So
Right.
that is not good. Dealing 6, casting it again.
Yeah, and I think he just cast it from yard as well.
Yeah,
So
and so
I think that's Death Star.
that is Death Star indeed.
And then he still has 1 lightning bolt in the cemetery.
Yep.
So. Was that a violent? Which
That's a violent. So you have to cast it. I know it's you may. So you have to cast it on the avatar.
Yeah.
And it will get tapped. And Archimago is at 12 life, and you're at Death's Door.
Yeah, this game is over.
Yeah, and they are now talking about it. So that was our very first game. And they shake hands. So Ewald and Felix, they know each other very well. That's back to us. So they know each other very well. I think when Ewald went into this match, it's like, I think it's a real tough matchup, actually. So probably he knew what was coming for him, but you always go for the best, and you never know how good your deck runs, how bad the Archimago deck runs. It can happen, right?
Yeah, pretty much. They have to play it out. Of course, it's round 1.
Mm-hmm.
This is round 1 of the Swiss. So you have to go 6-1 or better to get to day 2.
Exactly. There were 7 rounds. You really had to go for the 6-1.
Yep. So good start for Felix. We'll see how far he goes. I'm sure he'll be on the feature table many more rounds.
Probably. So this was round 1. Next one is round 2. Geoffrey versus Eunice, and we will give that to Geoffrey and Felix to cast. So stay tuned for the next one.